Welcome back to the Becoming Shameless podcast. I am your host, Nicholas Wallace,
Your host Josiah Baines.
and today's episode is Can We Be Friends? Today we'll be speaking about friendship and the importance of it, as well as many things that comes with friendship. So, to start off with the importance of friendship, we all know the quality of your friendships can shape the quality of your life. And, it's very important to have friends because friends can become family.
Um, Friendships are probably uh, the second most important relationship in your adulthood life, growing up from childhood to adulthood.
And what's the first? Your
Uh,
spouse?
yeah, the first is your spouse. The second I say is friendships. When it comes to just molding and shaping the person that you're gonna be in life. So, um, a lot of people need to re-evaluate who they got around them and what kind of friendships they have, and
Definitely.
you definitely need to look into more seriously what are the friends that you have around you and who you want around you, and not just having anybody in your circle. A lot of people love to have that, say they had that close circle, but you got like 30 friends. It's like, dang.
Yeah, not even just that. The friends you have, what are they on?
Exactly.
Because you are who you hang with. And even though you might not do the same exact thing to everybody else, that's what you're known for.
Facts.
So it's like, even if it's not the truth, that's become your truth.
I'm not even gonna lie though. It's a little different, at least from my perspective, because I've been rocking with the same. Rocking with the same. I haven't really made a whole lot of new
New
like friends.
Yeah.
I've been rocking with the same people since I was in like fourth grade. So it's. I ain't really had no trouble really trying to find friends, but
I did.
you know.
Cause I went to college, because it's like
Uh-huh.
they say your college friends are gonna be your closest friends, and I
Uh-huh.
struggle because like you are who you hang with, but I'm like, you've known this. Like, I've had the privilege to actually explore life before college, like
Facts,
go out
facts,
and
facts.
enjoy myself. Because you see, like my parents gave me freedom because I never got in trouble,
Yeah.
and as long as I was being responsible about it. So when you get to college, you realize a lot of people didn't have certain luxuries,
Facts.
so their priorities are different than mine. So because I'm used to it, I'm not phased
Facts.
about no party. But they'll do anything to go to a party, to the point they'll like leave their friends, or they want to do their homework, and their priorities are all screwed. And it's like, I don't want to associate. Like, it's no bad blood, but I don't, what I'm saying? That's not where my values and morals lie, where I have to do, like, prioritize having fun over taking care of my friendships and make sure they're okay. Because you see so many situations where, like, people will leave their friends at parties, or their friends will be drunk and they just recording them. And it's like, what I'm saying? I understand it's a memory, but it's like you're embarrassing your friend. Like, their priorities be so wrong.
Facts.
And so it's like, me, I was kind of already past that phase, which I think in a lot of friendships, we never really addressed the whole topic of placement. Like, and it's after high school you see it more, because in high school it's like, even before high school, your whole life is in a scheduled trajectory until you graduate high school. Everybody's at the same place, and once you graduate, you might be different places, like physically, like different states, emotionally, spiritually. Like, some people got their stuff together and some don't, and they told us that, but we didn't take it serious. But then you really see like the drop off in people. Like, some people don't got their stuff together, so it's like we never really address the feelings of outgrowing certain friendships, which we will address.
Another topic about importance. Um, who do you want to? You gotta ask yourself, who do you want to do life with?
Ooh.
And that's I think a really important question. Just how people, like I said, the number one in relationship I feel like is the most important is your spouse. Who do you What do you look for in a spouse? Because a lot of people be like, they look for certain qualities in a spouse, but be letting anybody be their friend. Not to bash, you know what I'm saying? If you got a bad friend, I'm not saying that that you a bad picker of friends and stuff like that. You just need to have a little bit more diligence, and I had to learn to have a little bit more diligence myself with who I was hanging around, and really just start to evaluate. Is this somebody that I really want in my circle? And like I said, though, I've had a pretty close circle majority of my life, so I really can't speak on that too much because I haven't been there. So
I ain't gonna lie. I've always had a lot of people. I've always like people always gravitate to me, and I kind of struggle with friendships because I realize a lot of relationships in life are very transactional for a lot of people, and I feel like everything runs off the ego. A lot of people surround themselves with people that make them feel good about themselves rather than people that better them.
mm-hmm.
So I've come into problems where it's like I notice sometimes even myself, or you hear like how a lot of people are people pleasers because they walk on eggshells to keep the peace because they know if they see something that somebody doesn't like, they'll cut the whole friendship off. And in reality, that's not really a friendship. And I think a lot of people need to learn that. I put them in categories. You have friends can become family, so you have your family, friends, associates, and people you're just cordial with. I believe in demotion. And I believe how I see it is friendships have to be renewed. It's a subscription in my book. You have to renew it every year because I'm not the same person I was last year. So you may know me from the past, but you don't know this new version of me. So unless you renew that, we're no longer friends. You could be like, for example, I have people I consider my brother, but they're not my friends. Love you like a brother dearly, but you're not my friend. You don't know me anymore. You know the old me, and we're close. Like we have a close bond, but like you need me, I'll be there. But I wouldn't say you're my friend. I'm not trying to talk to you. And that might sound weird, but I don't. There's people I consider my brother that I don't talk to like that because I've known you for so many years. To the point you've slept at my house for years. You know what I'm saying? Or like we've always been like growing up together. So it's like, oh, you're my brother, but you're not my friend. We're not on the same level. Like I said, we're different places. Even on intellectually, like you're here, and I'm not gonna say I'm better than you, but like on certain stuff, you need to grow, and I can't. You know what I'm saying? You're not growing with me, so you can't come with me because if anything, you're gonna halt it. Yeah, you're gonna halt my growth. So it's like I just kind of keep a distance.
Yeah.
See from a distance.
I in terms of the types of friends, right? Me, I'm more of it doesn't matter who you are. I honestly have gravitated towards having male and female friends, which is kind of which is kind of a issue in some people's book and some people's spaces. You know, hey, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, bro. If you are sitting there talking about you got a girl, a female friend, or a girl who got a guy friend, do not be out here lying talking about something. Oh, that's because you know in high school, bro, people was like, yeah, that's my best friend.
That's my bestie.
Knowing dang well what y'all was doing, but it's like, nah, but female friends I feel like are just important as a male having male friends.
They're human,
a male having female friends. And I don't think people take as much account into having friends of the opposite sex because, and really what that means, because I'm gaining a perspective.
I was gonna say that. Dang.
And the insight into the other side of the gender spectrum, and excluding like LGBTQ plus. I don't want to, you know what I'm saying, get into that, but just learning females and the way they think and getting a female perspective, because I know a lot of times for me it's hard to understand what a female is really thinking. I'd be so frustrated sometimes with whether it's my sister or my mom, my girl, the females in my life. It's like, why like this doesn't compute to me. But having a female friend really throughout the years has really helped me to be able to be like, oh, okay, this is how generally a female thinks and understands things and what she's ran off of on the day-to-day in her mind. So
I have a statement. Anybody who does not see the benefit in having friends of the opposite sex does not value wisdom. Because if you value wisdom, you value perspective, which gives sight to understanding. You can't sit here and say, oh, you know what I'm saying, I'm wise or I'm so smart, everybody's this. And if you don't have, like, any man who does not have a woman as a friend, I don't I respect you, but your opinion to me is kind of like not as like strong. Because it's like, why? Because you really break it down, especially for like for men. Most men who don't have women as friends are entitled, and that's why they treat women as relationships with them are transactional, and those transactions are usually either sexual or romantic. And if it's not that, I don't see the point in befriending them. To the point, you're not even treating a woman like they're a human, and I don't like that. I don't condone it either. It's like they're people, and I realize even like how it's transactional. A lot of times, girls use guys as placeholders until they get a boyfriend, and the moment they get a boyfriend, what do I need him for?
Yo, that's a placeholder. That's a great word. That is an absolutely great word.
Yeah, like it's really unfair. But I also like attribute it, like you always tell you, whatever you look at, whatever you listen to, into your subconscious mind. We've been conditioned to, as men, to not see the value in strictly platonic friendships. Like, think about it. All the kid shows you watch growing up, the guy best friend always ended up with the girl best friend. Or what a lot of men do, which they do in the shows too, they settle for a friendship. And they hope for like something to like come up later. And that's not genuine. It's okay. Sometimes people are just better off as friends. And I have my fair share of losing women as friends because I try to take it to another level. And then I really learned the hard way, like, oh, I should have just kept her as a friend, because as a friend, you know what I'm saying, I don't have to hold you I hold you accountable, but I don't have to see you as much. I don't have to deal with you as much. So your lack of communication, though I may not like it, you know what I'm saying, I'm not dealing with it as frequently, but I'm talking to you all the time. Your lack of communication, that's a red flag. That's not going to fly with me in an actual relationship that I'm in romantically. And now it's like, I can't be friends with you because you may have handled something in a way to which it's like non-negotiable. I have to cut the relationship off.
I think a big part of getting past that, like you said, a lot of men to women and a lot of women to men be having kind of this hope, like, hey, like, you know, hopefully, you know, if I'm their friend long enough, then, you know what I'm saying, then we can, you know, spark something new or something like that. I think a main mindset that you have to have is being able to endure delayed gratification, right? So you have to be able to see past. Like, I know for me, right, I'm not gonna lie to you, right? If I'm friends with somebody, most of the friends that I have, they not like, I don't want to be like too not specific, too like rude or nothing, but they're not bad looking people. You know what I'm saying?
Man, women are beautiful. All my female friends, I ain't gonna lie, most of them they bad.
Exactly. So it's like you have to be able to have the discipline to
not even act on it.
Exactly. To look past them just being a good looking person. Like, just because you got good looking people or around good looking people, that doesn't mean that somebody is automatically trying to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Pursue that kind of relationship with them. Like, especially, hey, I'm not gonna lie to you, especially this day and age, not this, but the age we're at, you know, everybody from high school is a lot more mature, and everybody's in that mature stage where there is a lot of
physically or mentally?
Physically.
Oh, wow.
Physically, not mentally. There's a lot of, everybody's like at their peak age, you know what I'm saying? So we got everybody going to the club, everybody's in their prime. So of course you're gonna have, if you have friends at this age, you're gonna have people who are good looking people, but you can't allow just somebody like it's crazy. I think I sent you that video of the jump that people make, especially men make, to, oh, she's a good looking female, I have to have sex with her. Like, that's like a crazy,
and sex complicates everything.
When you think about it, the jump from seeing somebody and being like, they look good, to automatically like, I'm gonna have sex with them. That's a crazy jump. Which, I'm not gonna lie, I've had those moments too where it's just like,
I believe we put them. I put them. I always tell them. I was an RA in college. I would always tell the girls, the moment a man sees you, he knows what he wants from you. I think the problem is people aren't intentional, and I feel like we put them in categories. You have the girl you would sleep with, the girl you would cuff, and the girl you want nothing to do with. Because you're not. Let's be real. But most of us are shallow to an extent.
Facts.
You're not approaching somebody because you think they're cool. How do you think somebody's cool? You can't see that.
Exactly.
You approach them because they're attractive.
Exactly. And
you settle most of the time. Most of the time you settle for friendship. That's why, like, I have a thing now. There's only one friendship I have with a girl that I'm currently settling, kind of, to an extent, because we're that locked in. But like, I'm transparent about it. Like, this is how I feel. Whenever I feel type of way, I back up.
Yeah.
But that's why I tell girls now, like, if I'm trying to pursue you, we can't be friends.
Facts.
If you reject me, it's no love lost. We be cordial, but we can't be friends because at the end of the day, it's like torture. I'm selling something that I don't want, and I've done that before. Like just trying to keep a friend before, and it's like I'm torturing myself. I don't want to hear you talk about that stuff, and it's crazy because I want to be a good friend. I want to be someone you could confide in, but mentally, I'm causing disturbance within myself, trying to make you feel at peace, and I'm messed up hearing that stuff or certain stuff. Like I feel like the problem is men, especially because men are typically the pursuers. They're not intentional because they try to hide their hand because they know they say what they want. If they say what they truly want, they may not get it. But at the end of the day, you waste less time doing that.
You have to know yourself, and you have to be able to know that when, like you said, when you start to feel that kind of type of way about it, you got to be able to back up off and be like, okay, like my intentions aren't good. Because one thing that will happen is that once you start having a female friend who you actually like, they are, and you're with her, you're in the friendship because you like her, right? Not because of any other, like, how do I say this? When you're in a friendship with a female, a woman, when you're in the friendship with a woman, I ain't gonna lie to you. I don't really like. Not every girl. I don't think every girl deserves that woman title. But that's a different. That's a different.
It's crazy.
That's a different topic. But like not every guy deserves that man title.
Like a little boy.
Yeah, but when it gets to a point in a friendship where you start to prey on their downfall. Like if I'm not your boy, if I'm your friend and I want to be your boyfriend and you're not letting me be your boyfriend, now I'm preying on your downfall.
Man, I hope that man treats you bad.
Exactly.
So you see that I'm the one for you.
Now you start to prey on their downfall for every other man who's in their life, and it's like you're not even being a genuine friend no more.
You being jealous, and I ain't gonna lie. Yeah. I've done it myself. Like I've caught myself getting jealous about stuff, and it's like I shouldn't care, and it's like me, I'm very. This is becoming shameless, so I'll be transparent. I struggle with lustful thoughts, even though I don't act on them.
Of course.
With my women friends, like I said, they're all beautiful, like very beautiful, and it's like, dang, like there'd be moments I'm just looking at you like, dang, like. But then I have to think to myself, is this really in the best interest of the friendship or the person? Because being a true friend is being more selfless. I know if I was to interact with you that way, what would it do to you if you have these certain trust issues or all that stuff, or I know what you want is not what I want. I just so like some men, some guys will just want sex, and they know it's a girl who wants a relationship strictly, and you dabble with her, you know what I'm saying, entangle with her, and then she gets her feelings hurt, and it's like if you really cared about her, you wouldn't have did it because you know what y'all both want doesn't align, and it's very selfish. That's why I try to I don't act on it. But like I was telling a girl the other night, I'm cool with. I'm like being transparent. Like I struggle with my thoughts, so that's why I like to be transparent about how I feel because I don't want you ever feeling or questioning me. I'll let you know what I'm thinking, but I'm not gonna act on anything. That's why I always also ask when I first hang out with a girl, even if my intentions are actually pure, just being platonic. What are your boundaries? Because I don't want to overstep. I feel like a lot of times because, especially in our generation, the talking stage and all that stuff plays into a role, like people hiding their hand and wanting their cake and eating it too. People aren't intentional, so it leads to a lot of confusion and hurt feelings. Whether if you just communicated, everything would be so much more simple. Like I remember I saw this one girl that I was trying to mess with, and she was telling me something. She was telling me about like a dude she was messing with, how he was confused. And I remember I was like, and excuse my language, but I was like, no real nigga gonna have you confused, because he gonna tell you what it is and what he wants from you. How do you not know what a man wants, or how do you not know where things are going? Because a man, and I hate to sound like those type of podcasts, but a man who really cares about you is going to lead you, or at least not even necessarily lead. He's going to make sure that your feelings are protected. So he's going to let you know where he's going. So you can go with him, or you don't have to. And he's going to give you the option. But a lot of men rob women of that option, and they settle for friendships, and then they end up being bad friends.
speaking on that topic of communication, I was talking to my mom last night, and she was really kind of just talking to me about what it means to be understanding and to be an understanding person, right? She said Miles Monroe has this sermon, and he's basically just talking about what it means to understand. It's to stand under somebody else's perspective. So if you are not able to humble
Ooh.
yourself and to be able to stand under their understanding, then it's not it's gonna be a hard thing for you to be able to have friends in the first place, have meaningful, not have friends, but have meaningful and fruitful uh, friendships. Because if all I'm doing is thinking about me, myself, and I, shout out to Beyonce, it gets to it gets to a point where nobody's gonna want to be your friend. If all you doing is if you're not able to sacrifice for people you really care about, and sacrifice your own pride and your own ego and all that other stuff. And first you got to be able to recognize like that you have a pride issue or an ego issue or a selfishness issue, and that is a big thing that I don't really see a lot of people in our generation doing. Like nobody, like I said in the last podcast, that self check is so important. Like
And you got, I ain't gonna lie, I'm convicted because now I'm thinking about stuff. I'm just,
it's so important because, and I'm telling you, like when I sometimes I be having that what's that what's that word called? They say it all the time. I be seeing oh my goodness.
did you know a synonym?
Now it's just like how people I see a bro. I don't know why this word is not
It's gonna
coming
come
to
to
me.
you probably like 5 minutes.
Exactly. But anyways, but yeah, to be able to stand under somebody's understanding, and once you start intentionally trying to do that more, I think a lot of friendships will start showing like, okay, is this really a friendship I should be in, or is this somebody that what I'm saying I gotta distance myself from it. And there's nothing wrong with having to distance yourself from somebody. It's not like somebody got bad
It's
blood
no
with you
love
or
lost. Like you said, you
exactly.
might
It's
outgrow
just
people.
yeah. It's
Sometimes people might outgrow you. People don't really address that.
facts.
Sometimes you have to really acknowledge, like, I was the downfall. I can acknowledge I've been the downfall. It's a bad feeling. Like when
Facts.
you know you're wrong. Oh God.
It. I have to. I've had to recently grieve a lot of
Me too.
friendships and relationships where I had to realize like the relationship I was in, this was not supposed to be a relationship. And and looking back at it, I'm like, I was not supposed to be in that relationship like that. I was just supposed to be somebody that either I just passed by or somebody that could have been a friend in my life because they were such good people that trying to push a relationship messed up so many, and you lose out on a whole lot of great friendships when you try to push something that's not there.
Now I'm blocked.
Now you
I'm sick.
blocked. Now you're blocked. It's crazy. It really is
It,
crazy.
it, it, it's super wild, and I like how you said you stand under someone's
Mm-hmm.
because it gives light to this saying friends lift each other up. So to lift someone, you have to put them above yourself. And I feel
Exactly.
like a lot of times because we are ourselves,
Go
most
ahead, Nick.
we always put ourselves first. That's why I think simple nature is the nature to serve yourself to the point it trickles down in every aspect of our life. To where so you gotta even I struggle with this and I've been working on it, but and because like how I speak, but like that letting people have it,
Mm-hmm.
even if I don't agree with you, for the sake of a friendship, I should just let you. I should just let you have it. I know I don't agree. I know you're wrong. But
Mm-hmm.
if you don't see you're wrong or don't want to see you're wrong, what's the point of getting all frustrated and starting a whole argument? Just let people have it for the sake of the relationship. Sometimes, like just knowing when to take the back seat. I feel like relationships aren't 50-50. It's give and take. It's about knowing when you're in the driver's seat and then when you're the passenger. But I feel a lot of times people want to be in the driver's seat. They don't know how to be the passenger. So they end up messing with the relationships because they don't know how to see outside the lens of themselves or for themselves. Whereas like maybe I should just let this person feel good about themselves in this moment. And like you said earlier, like it's surprising, like because I have a bro. What I said earlier about bros and friends. I have a bro where it's like I love bro, but he's not my friend solely because you're always in competition with me. You don't know how to uplift me. If I tell you I graduated with a mechanical engineering degree, you say, well, yeah, I did that. I took a class in high school. Like really did that before. I'm like, or if I'm like, oh yeah, I did had this accomplishment. You got to know what you did, or you gotta throw a little joke or try to like downplay it, like, oh, I ain't that hard. And it's like, bro, like you're not being a good friend because you're always trying to be at the same level as me. Sometimes you have to uplift me. It's okay to be beneath me, and not that I'm better than you, but to uplift someone, you have to be below them, and it's about humility.
Um, that's facts. I think that a lot of that comes with uh, meeting. Kind of the general scope is like meeting people where they are, and
I believe in that, but I don't at the same time.
Go on. Well, tell me about not your not belief. Like, what is it?
I'm at a point personally in my life where I feel like establishing boundaries is super important, and it's kind of like I don't need to meet you where you're at. If we don't align, I can just distance myself and then because I feel like I'm more of an all or nothing person because I don't like having to not truly be myself. I feel like if I'm downplaying a part of my personality just for to keep the peace with you, then I'm not being myself. So why would I meet you where you're at? I'm not saying like I'll never communicate with you. Like I'll be cordial or like check in because I check in, but like I don't want to talk or conversate frequently because I'm not really being myself. I'm being a version of myself for you, and I'm not even being myself. And I understand like the whole humility thing, like uplift those, but it's like I said, the emotions. Not everybody in life is going to be a constant friend. So like I said, sometimes in life, because people don't really value the art of association, just having an associate. Sometimes I can just demote you and be cool with you, and it's probably better because I'm trying to dim myself down to keep a friendship to where if I'm dimming myself, am I really happy? I'm not being my full self.
That's true. That's true. I can definitely see that. I think recently I had an epiphany. I was listening to 30 Minutes with the Perrys, and they were talking about in a political aspect how we automatically see people as positions, right? So say I'm a Republican, you a Democrat, right? We're friends.
Ooh, yeah.
I automatically categorize you as I say you was a Republican or whichever one. I automatically categorize you as that
opposition.
The opposition, exactly. So everything that you say is I'm gonna disagree and I'm gonna what I'm saying try to combat you, and it's like allow somebody to have the position that they have, and I think that's a big thing, especially with today's culture, especially with all the social movements and stuff like that. If you don't agree with me about something, people already be like, I can't bang with you. You might be a great person, but because you believe that Trump should have been in office, I can't bang with you.
I see what you're saying, and I not talk in terms of politics, but in terms of like you can still be cool with people with opposing opinions as long as it's like I said, as long as you have your core values set and it doesn't go against your non-negotiables and your core values. I feel like you could be cool with anybody. And we could be friends, we could still be cool. I feel like you're right to an extent. We've become very dismissive to where it's like if you don't have the same views, I don't want to hear nothing from you. And it's like I said, those who seek knowledge or value knowledge, they seek understanding, and it's like so you have to learn from opposing opinions. We learned that in school. You know what I'm saying? You have to address the counter argument, and a lot of people, and I feel like social media plays a role into it because like algorithms show you what you want to hear to the point now we're even more dismissive to opposing beliefs and opinions. And it's like I feel like you can gain perspective from different people depending on the topic because we don't do like bigotry and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But like depending on what you like, sometimes just hear somebody out for why they feel how they feel, because you don't know no one's story,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe you know what I'm saying their story will make sense to you, and it'll allow you to have empathy for them. But I feel like I ain't gonna lie, we lack empathy as a society.
A lot of empathy. And it's crazy you said that because I mentioned the whole Trump thing because recently I had a family member who I was visiting. I hadn't seen for a while, and they told me that they was, you know what I'm saying, not a Trump supporter, but they didn't see Trump as like such a bad person. Like they were like, you know what I'm saying, people be talking about Trump and you know what I'm saying, but this is what, you know what I'm saying, Obama did, or this is what, you know what I'm saying, this person did. And I had to, right, offense is a choice, right? You have to choose if you're gonna if you're gonna be offended, right? The way to combat shout out to Tim Ross again. The way to combat
I saw that episode.
The way to combat being offended, my fault. Okay. The way to combat being offended is to be curious. And so I had to ask them, it's like, why? Okay, so what is it? What is your point? I had to stand under their understanding. What is it that you see the pros and cons of, you know what I'm saying, Trump and different stuff like that, and just sit down and have a conversation with them. And I learned that, like, and I love them to death. They're my family member, but I had a lot more understanding of where they were coming from and what they were seeing, and it made sense. And I didn't agree with them with everything that they said, and there's no problem with that. It's just I was able to really have a lot more coercion and a lot more, like you said, empathy with them, and I was able to really bond with them a lot more because I became curious instead of automatically pushing them off. And outside of the political realm, like that's what we have to do with anything. If somebody is, if you're in a friendship and somebody, one of your friends are, I don't know, they're really you could say anything. Say y'all don't agree on a certain issue with like family or just anything. You have to be able to instead of offense being your first choice, you have to switch that to a mindset of being curious and trying to understand them and stand under their understanding.
For sure. And I definitely feel as if in terms of like empathy, like I said, everybody has a story, and most of our opinions are formed by two emotions: pain and happiness. And it's kind of like when you don't listen to somebody's reasoning, you to an extent you deny their humanity, because context, people hate to say this, but context matters more than you think it does. It matters actually a whole lot, and I've always been big on that. Like people, like they're so they hear a sentence and they're just shut out, you know, saying what someone's got to say, and it's like they're a bad person. I don't want to associate with them. But it's like if you read the whole article, you would understand the perspective, and it brings more light to why that sentence makes sense. Exactly. But a lot of stuff gets taken out of context, but people are so dismissive, and I find like as an adult, it's kind of harder to make friends because one, people already established in their mindset most of the time.
Facts.
But also it's kind of like because you hang with people who are like minded. But like I said, people aren't really open a lot of times to opposing, you know, opinions. And I feel as if I don't really like me personally. I don't like arguing, so I don't do that arguing stuff. But like for you, in my opinion, for you to not have friends with differentiating opinions, it shows that you're limited in your thinking, in my opinion. So call it what you will, but I feel like that's what makes it harder. I feel like a lot of people who are older are limited. Like they're saying, it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks.
One, I had to really kind of learn. That's more of like a to me it like a control issue, right? If I can't, if I'm not able to control your viewpoints, or if I'm not able to control the fact that you and I have to think the same thing, right? That's because that's the mindset. It's like if you and I are not thinking the same thing about if not every topic, most topics, then we cannot be friends, and that, like you said, that completely shuts out your your experience to be able to learn and to be able to grow in wisdom. And it's really a difficult process to be able to grow as a person if you're not allowing other people to help you do that with different kind of perspectives and of that such. But
Yeah, friendship and identity. I feel like a lot of times, like your identity can be found in friendships,
mm-hmm.
or it can add to yours. But a lot of times, when you don't accept people for who they are and their opinions, you deny them as a person, and that's what causes a lot of conflict. And I feel like a lot, like I said earlier, a lot of friendships I don't feel are truly genuine because most things in life are transactional.
Mm-hmm.
But people aren't aware of how theirs are, what, and they don't really ask themselves, what am I getting from this friendship? And I feel like even in healthy relationships, you're supposed to ask yourself that too. What do I provide, and what am I getting out of this? And if anything is external rather than internal,
Mm-hmm.
then that's where a lot of stuff goes wrong. And like those, it goes back to your values. And like I said, because iron sharpens iron. That's why I think it is important to be around like-minded people, but also go to places where you can learn. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like traveling. You got to go to different cultures to really appreciate it and understand, and it'll give you light insights like how blessed you are, or how maybe how different and how much blessed they are. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's important to get, gain different perspectives and opinions from different people who are different minded, and that's why I said earlier, platonic relations with the opposite sex is very essential, or whatever you identify as.
It was really nice. I was just thinking about I stay over there where
Don't let people know that.
they don't even know where unless they know Sean. But I was about to say I stay over there where Sean, and I always think about them
S'mores
s'mores.
talks.
Yes, them joints. Oh my gosh, because I'm a sucker for um, learning, just listening to people and learning their stories, and I would literally love to be able to go up to people on the street and just be like, so tell me like everything that's happened in your life for,
I've seen those TikToks.
and it is like amazing. Like I absolutely just love hearing what people have to go through, and I realized I have to start doing that with people closest to me, and not just my friends, but a lot of times with your parents, your parents, your
Well,
family,
especially
and
your
your parents.
parents, for
Exactly,
sure.
because a lot of people dismiss. We're at the age now, right? I heard a quote again from Tim Ross. He said, um, he had got into trouble with his dad, and his dad told him, he was like, one day we're going to be really good friends. Until that day, I'm your father, because the season that we're in right now is you have to obey me, because he was a lot younger. He wasn't old enough, but he has to obey because he's under his roof, and what I'm saying, he's living with them, and like you have to obey and follow my rules because you're in my house. And that's like, what I'm saying, I think that was just the generation that they was in.
For
These
sure.
days it's a little bit different, but
Very different.
you have to be able to realize that your parents are you, basically. Like there's nothing,
You are them.
there
For
is
sure.
nothing new under the sun.
I ain't gonna lie. Read Ecclesiastes.
Hey,
It says that so many times.
there is no temptation that is not common to man. I forgot what the verse was, but
There's nothing. Yeah, there's like no temptations that's uncommon. Therefore, like you can get out of it, basically.
exactly. So basically, all the stuff your parents been through, and I really had to learn. Like my mom told me something, and I was like, what? I was like, I never even knew my mom had went through that. And so now I'm kind of in a stage where I'm trying to be more intentional about learning my parents and learning the stuff that they've been through, and learning their background and their upgrowing and stuff. Because now I have a lot more. Because it's at the stage now, my parents, they're not going to tell me what to do. Because, what I'm saying, I move autonomously and a lot more independently now. So, the stuff that it's not like, what I'm saying, they paying for all my stuff now, or what I'm saying, I have a lot more responsibility. So, you just have a lot more freedom. So it's at a point now where my parents, I have to really start investing in a friendship with my parents. And I don't think a lot of people really recognize that. Like, you can be friends, and some people have great friendships with their parents, and they had them at like in middle school, and I was like, dang, like you and your mom is best friends, like. Sheesh, my mom still be trying to whoop me. I'm in middle school. I'm sitting there,
Sheesh.
sitting there,
Pouting.
exactly. I'm sitting there sick in class
Stuff
because my mom just whooped me, but rightfully so. You know, some things I had to be able to learn. So, but yeah,
I found the verse.
okay, what's up?
Ecclesiastes chapter 1 verse 9. History merely repeats itself. It has all been done before. Nothing under the sun is truly new.
Facts.
And I think that's important. I feel like we had this talk like in the summer because I believe that's something I've really been like focusing on, acknowledging the humanity of others, even your parents. So even when I had a discussion with my parents recently, like because I don't say I no respect. I'm not saying I check them, but I hold them accountable, right?
Oh wow. Right there.
Named up. But
Hey.
as I was saying, dang. But like
he said the devil of my
he trying to mess this up. But now I be telling my parents like a lot of times I'm like, oh, you're wrong. Sometimes parents will be like, oh, you trying to say I'm a bad parent, and I'd be like, nah, I acknowledge you're a person. You're merely a person. You do bad and good. It doesn't make you less of anything because I don't believe in the concept of good people or bad people. Excuse me. I just think we're people. Dang, choking. But I just believe we're people, to be honest. Some do good more than others. Some do bad more than others. And context matters. Why are they doing it?
Facts.
Who knows? And like how you say, like being friends, I kind of look at everybody as children, kind of, because every trauma you have, most stuff stems to your childhood and your inner child. So like even having a relationship, a friendship with your parents can like definitely for sure like heal their inner child. And shout out my book club. Shout out Reagan for choosing the book. I was reading this book called Saving Ruby King, and like it's one of the few books I've ever read that gives perspectives. Like the characters, each character is talking, even the church, like the building, is talking about their perspective, what they see, and it gives so much insight because we're so quick, or people are so quick to dismiss even their parents, like they're this, and this, and it's like you really don't know their story. No, I don't condone people's actions, but you genuinely don't know their story.
Don't, and that really gives a lot more, like you said, empathy to who they are when you learn their story. And it's a, I'm telling you, I'll be feeling so like just recently I'm trying to make some time out for learning. Actually, never mind. I'm not gonna get too specific with that, but yeah. So when you have that difference in opinion with your parents, right? And I think I said this in the last podcast, not being dishonest at the sake of honoring.
Yep, but we said also dis-ease causes dis-ease.
Exactly. So when you got that difference in opinion with your parents, some situations that might have happened, you might have thought, hey, like, dang, that whatever, when you did that really kind of made me feel some type of way. And then they're like, well, and not to say that they're wrong or something, but allowing yourself to be honest about how you felt and how that affected you without being dishonoring to them. And when you get to a point where you really mature, and let me tell you right now, and I haven't been always the most mature, but I am going to speak on not everybody is mature enough, first of all, to have that kind of conversation and not be able to blow up, right? Because it's as soon as somebody is able, exactly, as soon as somebody doesn't have the discipline and is not able to receive and have a conversation, it blows up, and you know what I'm saying, you get the fussing, and then it's impossible to have that kind of conversation. So being able to, I think, not pull your parents to the side, but sit down and have a conversation and be like, yo, when you did that really hurt me, and they're gonna respect the honesty. and that's with
some will. We can't guarantee that.
Yeah, some parents are gonna not all parents, but like you said, some of them, and the same thing with your friendships or friendships that you have or um, friendships that you're trying to build. When you're honest, right? It always has a good
It always
return.
works out.
Yeah,
Nah.
not in the moment, but eventually coming full circle.
I don't believe that to be true.
You don't think so?
From personal experience, I know that not to be true. Not because a lot of, and I can acknowledge, a lot of relationships I had in my life were very one sided.
Mm-hmm.
So it's me taking care of your feelings, me nurturing yours. Mm-hmm. But then a lot of times I realized a lot of not like even mine, but others too. A lot of friendships is very one sided. So the moment you address that you're upset and you need that emotional support, they're not there. I've seen it, experienced it. It's not always true. Like people don't value honest. A lot of people, and they, like say read Ecclesiastes. It mm-hmm. speaks on how like like I can't call them that, but a lot of people are fools, mm-hmm. and a lot of people don't actually truly like honesty because, like I said, you have I believe there's two types of people, emotional and logical. And not saying that logical people don't know how to process their emotions, and people who are emotional don't have logic. But typically, I feel like people who are too emotionally based, they don't use a lot of logic. And emotions don't seek solutions; they seek validation. So if I'm telling you how you did something wrong and how it hurt me, because most things are run by the ego, you're not gonna process it properly. And a lot of people don't. And I've seen it firsthand. And like a lot of people, I realize when they're wrong, they'll avoid you. So if you tell them how you hurt them sometimes, this always never a good return because they might just avoid you.
Well, I'm thinking a good return in the fact that maybe that's not somebody you should.
It definitely isn't.
Be hanging out with.
Right? I mean, everything always works out. So like, yeah, in that sense, yeah, you're definitely right. What's meant to be will always be. So if somebody like this, like you had that prayer before, it's like God, remove who's not for me. I'm telling you, you fall out with people you never thought you'd fall out with. Yeah. But then you really think to yourself, it's not for me. Like when you really like think about it, like if I could fall out with somebody over this, something that's so small that could have been a simple conversation, then they don't even need to be in my life for long anyway. Or if I feel like me being myself that bothers you, then not saying I wasn't wrong, because if we acknowledge, I feel like a lot of times, like I said, the ands, not the buts. It's not one thing and but the other. If you acknowledge that like sometimes even though the chair might be in the wrong, but someone can't work with stuff, then everything worked out. And sometimes, like I always say, if you feel you gotta cut me off to better yourself as a person, I'm all for it. Because if I'm holding you back or you feel that way, I'm all for your progression. Cut me off. It might hurt me. I'm not saying I'm not gonna be hurt. Come I care, but do what you gotta do.
I think a lot of times kind of get possessive over, like you said, cutting people off, and it's hard for people to cut people off because you start to get possessive over that friendship, and it's like you never are able to grieve being able to lose that friendship. Like you start to really think like this is my friendship. Like there's no way that this person is not going to want to be my friend at some point. Like there's no way like they're
it's possessive. It's very possessive.
It's like you're not able to allow somebody to say, yo, like it's probably best if we move forward and not move together. And it's like being able to recognize that a friend is not necessarily for you right then in that season. It's a hard thing because I myself have had to learn not to try to force a friendship, and sometimes I'll be overly hopeful with people and be like, yo, like of course, you know what I'm saying, we can be friends, and you know what I'm saying, start really just getting real lax and relaxed of not forcing how do I say, not forcing the other person and kind of confiding and being a friend when I'm not supposed to be their friend. Like God will clearly tell me like, yo, like this person is not, like you're not supposed to be messing with them, and I'd be like, but God, you know what I'm saying? Like
I'm gonna understand them.
exactly, like I understand them. Like there's some stuff that I'm able to be able to learn from them, and you know they can learn from me, and you know it's like no, like dude, just let them go. Just let them go. Just let them go. Let them go. Let them go. It is not worth it. It is not worth it.
For sure.
So, and then being able to grieve that, like you said, sometimes if you need to sit down and have a bowl of ice cream or sit down and cry
For sure.
about losing a friend, you got to do it. And then, you know, keep it pushing. The Lord says, I am with you.
Yeah. Like keeping friendships for the sake of keeping friendships. I've done that, and I ain't gonna lie, I be in the same boat as you, man. Like I be like, man, I've been so cool with this person so long. I think the problem is, for every investment, cause relationships are investments, you expect a return. Sometimes it's like stocks. Sometimes it's not gonna make no profit. You know what I'm saying? But also, I'm gonna tie it in together when I say the statement. The concept of karma is dangerous. I like to say you reap what you sow better. Facts. I think like planting, right? Because where you plant, people always say the grass is green where you water it. That's not true. What soil are you watering it in? Because if you're watering a soil that's too dry, you're not gonna reap any fruit.
Facts.
Or what seed are you planting? Because if you plant a bad seed, you'll reap bad fruit. So that's important. Because with that karma, karma breeds entitlement, which I'll elaborate on. Because people when it comes to the whole thing of karma, if I'm a good person, I'll get a good friend, I'll get a good relationship. I get something good, right? I always hate the word. I hate the word deserve, because who are you to say what you deserve? Because who are you to weigh the scales of karma, and who are you to say what you get? You don't know the scales. You can't determine what you get.
And that leaks into the whole good person, bad person
and I don't like it. Because I said it's dangerous. Good people. The whole concept of good people is dangerous. So is karma. Because with karma, right, people always expect to get what they want. And then it's like when bad stuff happens, it's like, why? Motive matters and why you do stuff. Because a lot of stuff you think is good. Is it really good, or you should be doing that? Just saying. So that's why I think it's dangerous. You reap what you sow is a better thing that's applicable to more situations than karma. Because karma's dangerous. And that's why a lot of people are bad friends. Right. They feel like I posted you on Instagram, you have to post me on Instagram. And like you're worried about the wrong things. You're not worried about the fact that they're there for you every time you need them. You're worried about an Instagram post.
Exactly, bro. Oh my goodness. First of all, what you said, a lot of people think they're doing good things, or are they just like, is that like the standard basically? Like you think just because you meet a standard that you're a good person?
I'm just caring. Like I always I was there for the like the girls be like, I'll be there for him. I was a good girl and I deserve this. One, you're not acknowledging you have vested interest. Therefore, there's a motive.
What was you supposed to do? You supposed to be a bad person? Like I don't understand that. Like what if being a good person is so good and it's not your standard, then what is your standard? If you sitting there like I listen to you, if you sitting there like I listen to you, I tried to do this for you, I try to do that for you. Like it's basic stuff. It's like, dude, is that not like and I think that's a big difference between this generation and the generation of like our grandparents.
Like with chivalry?
Yes, like just doing stuff that just because
anime.
That is that is just the right thing to do. Like just because you're doing the right thing automatically jumps to, oh, I'm a good person because I do the right thing.
And it goes into like men's entitlement, like I was saying earlier, like the whole good guy arc, because you treated her like a human being, you feel entitled to sex or a relationship. And it's like, what? Or even then, I expected to be treated good because I listened to him and he did this and I did this, and it's like, that's what you should be doing. Like I said, the concept of good people and karma leads to entitlement, and that's why a lot of people, they do a lot of messed up things because they feel like they're deserving something because they're doing something they should do. Like if you're a good person, being good should be the standards. Why does it make you good? And what does it mean to be good? If you have the tools to help others, you should. If you have those resources. But and then like I said, if you're helping those you have vested interest in, is it truly genuine? You want something from this person, whether it be a friendship or relationship. So how can I say you're a good person?
I when you start to try to count the favors or count the times that you feel like you've been a bad person, you have no room to be able to count the times that first of all somebody else did something for you, and also
Ooh.
to be able to recognize that there is no counting. Like there is no, especially in a Christian mindset. Like if I were to sit there and try to, if Jesus were to come and sit there and try to count all the good things that he did for you, like you wouldn't even like, you know what I'm saying, you wouldn't even be able to fathom, like comparatively, like it's it gets to a point, and even when it feels like nobody is when you're in that space where it feels like nobody's good to me, or you know what I'm saying, nobody is giving what I'm giving to them. Just give, like just.
And then what are you looking for? I remember I was having a conversation with my father the other day. We were talking about like being kind and being taken advantage of, because it's a balance.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes when you're giving, really ask why are you giving, because deep down in your and you might never realize this. Sometimes when you're giving so much, you're hoping for something.
Mm-hmm.
Like people with a savior complex, which I used to be. You're hoping that because you save somebody, they're gonna care for you, or they're gonna need. And a lot of times, people they use people needing them as a crutch to have people in their life, and it's like, really, why? Really ask yourself, why am I doing this, and really genuinely open with yourself, especially in friendships. Like, why? Really ask yourself, why am I friends with this individual? And then a lot of times, you'll really think to yourself, it's probably not as genuine. Like I don't think most humans are genuine, and I feel like I have no shame in saying like I know, like I said, like I told you, especially like women, like I'll let you know what's on my mind. Like when I saw you, I thought this of you, and I wanted this, da 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 da. But I'll let you know because I don't want you ever feeling as if you don't know where my head's at. Out of respect for you as a woman, as a human, not just as a human being, just being transparent. But a lot of people, they ain't gonna do that for real, because you know why. People aren't very genuine. And most people are out for self in every aspect, even in friendships. You see the same way how, like, they be saying, I ain't gonna lie, men are more gold diggers than women. The moment a man gets on, now you in the comments with the gorilla emoji and the black heart. Like, oh, like y'all was never talking in high school. Now y'all bros because you see he got a nice belt on.
Facts.
And got some Amiris on.
Facts.
Like, all right, but like a lot of people, they're very opportunistic, even when it comes to relationships, and they're this term I think believe hypergamous, and they always try to go better. And people try to say it's just strictly women who are like that. Men are just the same way in there. Except I feel like men don't do it in relationships; they do it with their friendships. And we've experienced it.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna throw no shade.
Yeah.
But I've experienced friends switching up on me because they felt some people were cooler than me, so they switch up on me, and it's like, dang.
It's hard to be a good person generally because
they don't exist.
A lot of times it's hard to say you're a good person, and not less good and good people who are, who do good things. A lot of times, like you said, they kind of try to seek a return on their investment, when a lot of times you're never going to see that return. And when you try to do something good for somebody, you have to be able to accept that.
You never see nothing.
You might not see no kind of progress, no kind of nothing. Like when you're trying to take somebody in a, let's talk in like a mentor space, right? Say you're mentoring somebody and you're giving them, a lot of trying to feed them a lot of wisdom and knowledge and stuff like that, and you're like, dang, like this person is the same person. You have to be able to realize, I think we said this last podcast, God doesn't work on your timetable. Like you allow God to change somebody that's not on your time.
Right.
And you have to be able to accept the fact, like, when I do a good deed, like I'm just doing a good deed. Like that's
I have a
just
question for
leaving
you.
it at like that. Yeah.
Do you feel as if you can mend, like, say you fall out with somebody, do you
Mm-hmm.
feel like you could mend and forge a new friendship with that person after some time?
Absolutely.
Ooh,
Absolutely.
that's good.
I think. What do you think?
It depends on what they did.
Uh huh.
I feel like if it's a non-negotiable, and or if I haven't fully healed from it, because I feel like with healing,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we haven't learned how to properly heal. None of us were taught how to properly heal, because healing can take years.
Yeah.
It could take months. There's no timetable for healing because, which we're gonna get into after this. Grief has no timetable, and I
Mm-hmm.
say grief because losing a relationship is like the relationship's dying or it's dead. It's
Yeah.
grief. You lost a relationship, and I feel like that could take some time. So I mean, I feel like depending on what they did, I'm open to it, but only if it's for the right reasons and they're in it for the right reasons. So yeah,
Uh, what do you look for in a friendship?
I look for transparency, wisdom, someone I can learn from, honesty is very important, respect, and someone I can enjoy myself with, but also, you know what I'm saying, relationship with God. But I have friends who aren't Christian, and
Mm-hmm.
that's okay too. As long as you have a strong moral compass, you know what I'm saying, then I could still befriend you because I could also learn from you too.
Mm-hmm.
But people who are open minded too, open mindedness is very important to me. And considerate.
Mm-hmm.
Being considerate, that's non negotiable. If you're inconsiderate, it's a non negotiable for me. How about yourself?
Um, you got to be able to do your work, and you got to be able to be able to
It's
check
like a
yourself.
teacher, you said that.
Like you got to be able to do your own work. Like
Accountability.
exactly. Like if you're not able to, and it's no problem. But I'm talking about people like friends. Like if in my circle, if you're not able to do your own work and call your own mess ups and your own mistakes and stuff and be able to
Mm.
work on yourself, it's
Yeah, you should
I,
have to tell them they're wrong all the time.
exactly. It's like now I feel like I'm judge, jury, and executioner. It's you have to be able to do your own work, and then also like you said, have an open mind and be able to want the willingness to learn. Right, you don't have to have necessarily
That open mindedness,
you
yeah.
don't have to have all of that, but if you're willing and able to be like, okay, I want to be able to learn something new, or I want to be able to see this perspective, or you know, you don't have to know everything, but if you have a hunger to know a little bit more every day, then
That's real, bro.
I can definitely rock with you.
The willingness to change or adapt.
Exactly.
That's important. Some people aren't willing to actually like change.
Yeah.
Cause I have a friend. I have a friend. I remember this man was saying. I told him how he was wrong. I leave facts, all that stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and he was like, "You think what you think. I think what I think."
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, "It's my opinion." I'm saying, if you at least got if it no if it's disproven and it's actually a fact that you're wrong,
Mm-hmm.
that's no longer opinion.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fact that you're wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So I have my opinion, you have yours. And I'm like, you're a stubborn dude. And
Mm-hmm.
I really don't value that. I'm like the ability to adapt and change and grow is very essential because you're always growing as a person, and relationships fluctuate. They're always going to change, and I feel like a lot of people don't acknowledge the importance of being able to change in relationship and out. So change and grow with your friends, but as well grow as an individual too, all at once.
Yeah, I can't bang with nobody who won't say that they're wrong. Like not
That boils my blood.
not the fact that they don't see that they're wrong, but the fact that they know that they're wrong
They
and
just
they
can't
will
say it.
not be like, yo, I messed up. Like if you can't say I messed up, and the amount of people in my life who I've seen not just be like, yo, like that's my bad. Like I messed up on that. Like I shouldn't have done it. It's crazy because it's like,
Boy,
are
what?
you serious? But then again, like later down the road, like you said with that question, later down the road, if they're able to, show repetitive signs that they're able to do that, maybe then we could be friends. But hey, I was at a point where I wasn't able, and still I'm still working. I not all the time I'm able confess, especially in the moment. If it's a heated moment and I'm like I really don't want to bang with you right now, but
Yeah.
you still have to be able to get back around. But I'm sure there's a lot of people who might watch this or who might see a snippet or something and be like, I ain't Josiah. That dude Josiah ain't not a good dude either. Hey, you know, it's I have a lot of stuff that I'm working on. Like I said the last podcast, most of the stuff we talked about is stuff that
ain't no shame.
We are still working through stuff that we are still. It's just stuff that we see in our lives in our 20 some years of living.
I'm okay with being the bad guy. I could be the villain because at the end of the day, I'm not gonna be the good guy in everybody's story. Because how you perceive me is out of my control, and I know sometimes like how you treat others has more to do with you than them, and that's why like you shouldn't take stuff personal or be offended by certain stuff because not that it's in most cases, no one meant to hurt you. You're just collateral damage. They ain't mean to hurt you. You're just collateral damage. You're kind of like a car in a Marvel movie. You might get destroyed, but it wasn't on purpose.
Them cars be getting messed up in them Marvel movies. I'd be so surprised looking at the movie and everybody just running, but they don't really talk about
were they really in good hands?
Exactly. Like Allstate did not stand.
But
Jake from State Farm was not there.
They is not gonna believe you.
Exactly.
So how do you, for our last topic, how do you grieve a friendship in a healthy manner?
Me personally,
yes. And how do you feel like people should like try to process?
I'm still, like I said, I'm still learning the process of grief because I didn't really think about grieving our friendship since like maybe like the summertime. Like I just started to really learn that I have to be able to grieve friendships, but that process comes with one, just accepting the season of life or whatever season I'm in and whatever season they're in. If the more I accept being able to know that this season that I'm in, I don't have the luxury to have them as a friend, right? I don't have the ability to be able to be a friend for them or them to be a friend to me. Like I'm not able to do that. So when I think about grieving, I have to, or when I am grieving, I have to be able to come to practical terms and a realization that this is not going to work, right? And I have to kind of tell myself over and over again, like in the season that I am in and the season that they are in, this friendship is not going to work. And then, just for me is heavily relying on God. Like God, I've really been focusing on God is with you. Like just that statement of God being with you. And I think that kind of applies to every area with me in my life. Just somebody being with you. And if I'm a friend and my friend is going through a grief process or something, just being able to say that, yo, I'm with you. Like, whatever you do going through, whatever it takes, just somebody to be like, yo, I'm with you is like a real big comfort. So, that's basically my grief process. I might take a couple days. I'm not a big blocker though. I don't really be blocking people.
Me neither. I try not to unless it's like a spam caller.
Yeah.
But yeah, I ain't gonna. I'm in the process of trying to learn how to grieve too. I feel like one of the struggles with me even grieving, I think I struggle on how to feel my feelings. Mm-hmm. Like allow my I go to therapy or whatever, but like I can understand and process my feelings, like process it like why I feel how I feel, but actually allowing myself to actually like feel it in its totality, because I'll feel it then process and analyze and write it, break it down, write it down, but like emotions are meant to be felt, so allowing myself to truly feel the sadness in its totality, or like to mourn the relationship like truly, I kind of struggle with that. So that's why I asked, because I said like I'm going through it too, so maybe we're all going through it together or whatever. But like it kind of sucks because it's like nothing really lasts forever, and it's kind of like how you said, like no matter how much you invest or input into a relationship, you may not get a proper return. And we were speaking about earlier, you asked a question, or you brought up how like being honest can like it's gonna reach something good. It does, but also like truth hurts or honesty can lead to places of pain. Like I've expressed stuff to people like, "Oh, you've hurt me in this way," and they didn't even acknowledge the message or didn't acknowledge what I said, and that's one of the things. It's like, dang, it's kind of like you're mourning a closed casket. You're not get to. I don't get to see the body. It's a closed casket on that funeral, and it's kind of hard to process. I'll probably never see that bond again. But it's like it goes back to our last episode. Like the phase I'm in is like accepting it, like acknowledging and accepting. That's just what it is. Acknowledging where, like you said, where they are, where I am. But the process I need to, like personally, that I'm going through is fully allow myself to feel those emotions.
I think that's we'll have to tack on that too. Is feeling those feelings and allowing yourself to sit in them, and that's.
But don't linger in them.
Yeah, not staying in them, but just taking a moment, whether that's a day, a couple days. If it gets up to a month, it's like okay, it's going a little long. But not grief doesn't have no timeline, but when you're starting to sit into it a little too long. But for me, like I said,
it was crazy, bro.
What?
Sometimes I grieve relationships before they're over, or I'm in the process of grieving before they're over.
Facts,
Like I know it's like it's kind of like I feel like I'm in the High School Musical 2 movie, and it's like that one song like I gotta go my own way. Like I know I have to move on. Like I know I have to move on and be who I am before I even like acknowledge that like this is not working out. But I feel it like I know it's coming to that point where it's like it's not in our best interest to be friends, but it's like no love lost, and it hurts me. That's why, like, for example, sometimes like in the past, like there was one girl and I was telling her like I can't be friend. I care for you too much. I genuinely can't be your friend. We can never just be friends, never, because I care for you way too much for me to just be your friend. It's torturing me.
Yeah.
And it's like having to mourn it before I even those words even leave my mouth. Is like, dang.
I want to say, especially with women, they do that a lot. The first thing a woman will do is detach.
They detach before they leave,
right,
physically,
they detach
mentally,
themselves emotionally before they actually detach physically, and that's like.
But guys do it too, but we do it differently.
Yeah.
You ever heard they be like, when a guy just getting mean, that means he don't like you no more.
Yeah. Man, but yeah, I think. Anything else you got it?
Nah, I think that was I ain't gonna lie, that was a good, but kind of heavy on me. I ain't gonna lie.
I'm not gonna lie, that was heavy on me too.
Cause I'm still going through some of these projects, like just stuff, my stuff. So I'm like, I'm really low-key like just saying like, you said some stuff. I'm like, I'm just thinking like, dang.
That was heavy on me too. Hey, if somebody watches this and they're like, yo, that dude Josiah's not a good friend, please hit my DM and just be like, yo, you wasn't a good friend, and I'll absolutely have space for you to be able to let me know what it is that you felt or something like that. I really want to start being able to not reconcile, but be able to
be at peace with everyone, is what the Bible says.
Exactly. If it is in your power to be at peace with everyone. So this is me being, and I might not have known I did something, so I'm trying to be able to.
And I actually, good thing you said that. One thing I realized, a lot of times people don't give their friends a grace. People act like we're symbiotic. Like if you're around me all the time, I'm supposed to just know. And this goes to relationships too, like that are romantic. And it's like you have to communicate, because no matter how much I'm around you, I can't read your mind. And it's not fair to just be harsh and assume people should just know better, because people aren't always gonna know. We all grew up differently, so we have different triggers. We respond to different reactions differently. So for you to like just assume somebody's supposed to understand and fully grasp what they should and shouldn't do to you, that you didn't communicate it, it's not fair. And I feel like that's why I think that's the biggest downfall for a lot of relationships, platonic and romantic. Like people be like, well, you did this and you didn't even think how it made me feel, or you did this, and it's like, yes, that person might be wrong. They hurt your feelings, so they're wrong, but also it's like, communicate your hurt to others. That's what makes a bond strong anyway. People don't communicate what they're upset about. They just assume you're supposed to know, and that's not fair. We're all humans. I'm not Professor X. I can't read your mind. Like you gotta let me know what I did wrong, because me as well as him, but there's a lot of people who are willing to actually change their behaviors and adapt. But when you don't tell people or communicate, you do them a disservice and you hold them hostage. I think who said that? Erica Campbell.
Mm-hmm.
She said when you don't communicate, you hold people hostage, and it's not fair a lot of times because certain things that you say that I do or did or but you didn't communicate.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's just a misunderstanding. I may say something that you misheard me. Like I really lost one of the close relationships to me off of something that she misheard, but she never communicated it until it was to the point where she told me like, I resented you for that. Turns out she really misheard me. And I'm like, I didn't say that. I said this. And she's like, oh, and it's like, you ruined the whole relationship because you didn't speak up what bothers you. And that's a lot of people. You do people a disservice when you don't communicate or speak up.
That's literally the story of my past 20 years of life. I literally just started communicating. I was not a big communicator, so that is something I'm currently. I was like a dart. It's like you just took an arrow and just pointed at me and just shot it at me right there.
And you know, like we going through the same stuff because like remember like, I hit you this summer and I'm like, even with your closest friends, like you know what I'm saying, you grow closer by sharing what hurts you.
Yeah.
And I'm like going through a spree of just being like, oh, this hurt me, this hurt me, this hurt me. They care about you. They'll respond in a certain way. They'll change. They'll apologize.
Yeah.
But like I hold you hostage by never telling you and holding resentment against you. Because I feel like it's the problem with most relationships. People don't realize a lot of relationships, people hold resentment to the people closest to them. They don't see it though because they never addressed it. But that's why you're so like side eye, like because you resent them. You love them, but you resent them because you never address what really hurts you. And the more you're around them, it's like you get closer to them. But the closer proximity you are, you like I said, you see their blemishes. So you're low key. We're starting to gain and build resentment towards somebody you're close to. Start communicating. Don't hold people hostage.
That's all I gotta say. I'm not gonna lie to you. This joint, like you said, this joint was heavy.
I ain't gonna lie. It kind of got my body fatigued.
Yeah.
But like he said, if I hurt you in life in any capacity, let me know. I'll openly apologize. And like I said, we don't gotta be friends. We don't gotta mend nothing. But at the same time, I genuinely want to apologize as well as you know what I'm saying, be open to a conversation. And you can even tell me what I could do better because I can't treat people better unless I know what I'm doing wrong. So that's all from me. That's all from him.
Sheesh.
We'll see y'all next week.
See y'all, man.
Oh damn.